Hello.
We're back.
Welcome to the Matt and Nige, or the Nige and Matt show. First recording didn't go very well on me.
No, that's not true. The first recording went really well. It was just the audio was rubbish. I rephrase
True
that. Your
story.
audio was rubbish.
Yeah. Anyway, here we are. We're back. We're going to be talking everything insurance, everything innovation, and we haven't really found our riff for what we're going to be covering in these sessions, but I think we're getting closer.
We are definitely getting closer. This might be pilot 2 or test 1 or whatever you want to do. But actually, we've spent the last hour and 20 minutes actually having a bloody good laugh, which was really fun. And dying with laughter at many of our commentary that we can't record for the sake of humanity, which is probably the right thing.
But we do have a topic to talk about this week. Nigel.
I'm gonna start you off with this because it's an important one actually, and it's what made the news last week and again today. So the launch of apps inside an LLM. Give me your view, good, bad, or indifferent. And I can give you examples if you want.
Can I give, happily take examples. I think I'm fairly familiar with them. It's kind of my job.
I bloody hope so.
But I was going to say, can I have a fourth, which is, I can't remember the word I was going to use, but I mean, it's going to happen, right? I mean, it's
inevitable.
Inevitable. Thank you. Yeah, it was inevitable. So it's like, I loved the news. I love seeing it's a Spanish insurer. I can't remember how best to pronounce it. And Insurify, right? 2 examples. And it was kind of like, is no surprise. Surely it's no surprise. It's a long time coming. The connections. I mean, it's not end to end. It's not. It wasn't complete. People aren't buying insurance through using ChatGPT, but it's going to happen. Of course, it's going to happen. And
break it down for me then. Let's go market by market, segment by segment, because I think the UK and the US are very, very different. Or the UK,
yeah, sure.
Or let's go UK, Europe, US, APAC, all very different markets. Number one, and then segments are very different. So let's go brokers, which is where this broke, no pun intended, last week, which caused a 6 to 8% dent in most of the broker stocks. And then today we've had a whole lot of things in personal lines in the UK. So start with brokers in the US. Are brokers, as we've known it, at risk as a result of this?
Yes, but not wholesale. And what I mean by wholesale is there will be part of their business that is eroded and a whole chunk not, right? So it's kind of like the whole high volume personal lines. Yeah, absolutely under attack. Anything that doesn't require kind of consultation, the more simple of stuff, right? The more complex it is, the more relevant and appropriate it is going to be for a broker, at least for the foreseeable. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but they will be squashed. Part of their business will inevitably be gone. 100%.
I'm not quite so sure, given the speed at which this industry innovates and wants to innovate. Like I always talk about, insurers are in love with revolution, but addicted to evolution, i.e., like we're okay with 3 or 5% or 10% each year incremental benefits, as opposed to the big, let's go revolutionize and change what we do and how we do it. I think those how we do it tweaks and tunes are marginal gains and changes along the way, as opposed to revolutionary pieces. And I don't see it changing anytime soon. On the broker side,
do you not see it changing at all?
No, I see it changing, but I see it changing through evolutions, not a revolution.
Yeah.
And importantly, on the broker side right now, if I can make the broker more effective and efficient, great, or the producer more effective and efficient, I don't see it negating or removing their jobs, which is what I think that the market was going, oh, look, it's going to take these people out completely. I think it's about now making those individuals superhuman to go, I no longer need X amount of support. I can do it myself because it all comes back to me in a way that's automated with either AI or agentic or whatever else that we're bringing to bear to help that person out.
If it gets to the broker. But
Yes.
I genuinely believe, so I agree with you, right? I align with. It's just, I feel, I believe that also some of their book will just simply disappear because others will take that away from them. And those will be the high volume more straightforward
Hang on, but we're sticking with broker.
requests.
Are we staying to
Yeah.
broker, high volume? Okay, so
Yeah, yeah,
fast flow business.
yeah. And there will be part of their books that is that, right, and that will be gone. So that's what I think. The rest of the, as you put it, the rest of their kind of their superhuman kind of
Complex commercial.
operationalized,
Yeah.
all of that will be made easier, and they will be able to get there faster. The customer experience will be improved. All the rest, right? They will have a role to play still within that market. However, so that's where I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think I don't know, I've not looked at the stock prices today. I suspect they'll all bounce back to where they were given the broader market conditions as well. So they'll recover, and I suspect it was a blip. The issue here isn't technology. The issue here is adoption and implementation of said technology for
Yeah,
those organizations. So I think that's my sense on it. I think I agree with you about some of the flow business will head down this channel, but I would be surprised if it's more than 1% over the next 12 months.
interesting. Go on the other parts of the market.
If I go beyond broker, then I look at the announcements today, what is it, Friday, from Matt Creswell over at Money Supermarket launching their app inside ChatGPT. I actually think it's really, really interesting if you think about distribution. So I've often talked about uh, who's going to own the customer of the future. And I'm very conscious that the UK market is unique in terms of its use of aggregators compared to many other markets that are out there. So this is a UK specific comment. But if I've gone from, or if I'm always going to be in ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or whatever my LLM of choice is going to be, and I've got the ability to interact with my insurance companies via a chat interface, would that negate the need for me to go onto Money Supermarket or any of the other aggregator sites for me to give it the 154,000 questions to get back my comparison of products listed by price? So I think it's going to be really interesting over the folks that are going to play and connect to that new ecosystem where conversation is the new interface. So I like this a lot. Again, I'm my finger in the air view of how this market moves. A small percentage of people will try it out and use it in the short term. Medium and long term, I suspect this will be the interface of the future. I think that for lots of applications, like I don't want to go into 20 applications on my desktop.
Yeah,
I
sure.
want to go to one and actually interact with a conversation that says, go do this, go do this, go do this. And the fact that they're fixing the plumbing first, kudos to Money Supermarket guys and Matt and co. Really interesting.
This is beyond. I think you touched on it, right? Which is you don't want to tackle 20, 40 different apps, interfaces, search tools, whatever it be, right? But it goes beyond that, where I believe we're going to be either owning, or it will be centralized. That all of that data, which you have to input again and again and again and again in these different places, right? We're going to be sitting upon, and I know there are a few solutions out there already that are doing this in that kind of that wallet style, I guess. Almost it's the who I am, my family setup, how long have I had a license for, no points, whatever it's motor or whatever the equivalents are elsewhere, and it will be go out and find me. And it will be as simple as that, and that will be just standard on the basis that we need to get insurance.
Personalization, right? Proper context, proper personalization.
For sure, and that's it, and then that will be the same for my car, and then I'll be able to get my life insurance, I'll be able to get my health, and all the rest without even sometimes you have to do that within the same vendor, right?
Well, hang on. Then you get into the world of advice versus guidance, and where are we going to sit between the two things? And if you've got guidance, which I'm assuming in none of these instances that we're getting, we are being presented the results to the questions that we've given based on its connections to its back end. So with Money Supermarket, if I look at the article on LinkedIn, it talks about getting a car insurance estimate by answering just 5 questions. That to me is awesome because there's just way too many. Like my least favorite question about answering car insurance is, what's the value of your EV battery? How am I supposed to know? ask the average human that owns a house what's the rebuild cost of their house. Or Aviva's one they used to do is get a quote, not a quiz, which I really love their ad from years ago, which talked about does your lock conform to BS? Blah, blah, blah. Like it's nonsense. Like we just don't know that sort of stuff. So to your point, get better at knowing me. And beyond that, Money Supermarket's benefit, of course, is it's more than insurance. It's broadband, savings, current accounts, the whole lot, but through a conversational interface. So is this a win for ChatGPT and um, LLMs, or is this a new UI for Money Supermarket?
Interesting.
What's your take? And where would you go? Like, are you're
Yeah,
my
I think
age? You're
it's
67. You will sit down. You will sit down and probably get to a Sunday afternoon and go, I need to renew my car insurance. I'm going to my laptop.
yeah. Yeah, what is my take? My take is I think if you have dominance in the market from brand positioning and you're able to evolve, as you're saying, as opposed to revolutionize, evolve your business to create, like Money Supermarket have done, an app that sits within an LLM and go the end-to-end journey from search to buy, then you can own that channel. But then that's where the battle will be then just shifted, right? But
I
the
love
old business will change.
like it's like the book Who Moved My Cheese or Who Moved My Job, right? If it's moved to a different location because it's easier to do somewhere else, the idea of being able to do an MTA and go, please add my son via a conversational interface without logging into
Yeah,
17 different things or whatever else because it's known to me and I'm authenticated. I actually love the idea of that. Genuinely love the idea of it. I've already added the app to ChatGPT. I've not been through the full process yet. I'm definitely curious about how I get a quote and where it's both bound and what one works, or am I then pass through the whole thing? So I think it's a brilliant start, though. I really like this idea.
and it's not going to be long, right? It really won't be. It won't be long until you're completing that purchase. Yeah, I
You
don't
know,
know exactly where it ends at the moment, but
I was listening to a podcast earlier that I'll share at the weekend in the newsletter about Claude and Claude Work and Claude Code. And one of the guys behind the product said in February last year, it was completing about 20% of this code. By May, it was doing about 30%. And by November, it was doing 100%. Like that's a massive hockey stick of going, we're getting there, it's assisting you, it's getting better at assisting you, it's doing everything. And since November, he's not touched a single line of code himself. Like it's really interesting to see the adoption of the new capability to that world.
I
Brilliant.
think it's yeah. Bear in mind, my old business was running a digital agency that employed like tens of software engineers, not an army of a team, but still enough to realize it's just like
More of a
the
SaaS like leading
yeah. Well,
force.
this was yeah, but this was like a digital agency, so we're creating like new businesses, digital services, websites, and all the rest for other brands. It's like that world has just changed wholesale,
It's
right?
gone
It
away.
doesn't exist. I mean, like, part of Sonar is a SaaS offering, my own company, right? And it's like, what does that look like going forward? It blows my mind how fast that market is changing. And actually, we're revolutionizing that SaaS offering to make sure it remains relevant, but we're going to have to be doing it almost every quarter.
Well, you're moving now into the next debate around the SaaS collapse or the big sell-off of stock of
Yeah,
software stocks,
yeah,
right? That
yeah.
happened over the last couple of weeks. And it's in the news everywhere. It feels like it's a daily conversation for me. It goes back to your point about what is the future SaaS model or the future business model for SaaS companies? Are they overpriced, overvalued, et cetera, is SaaS dead? And I think actually absolutely not. Colin Fleming from our organization wrote a really great article about we've buried the wrong thing. Like, don't bury SaaS products, bury fragmentation and all the things that have caused the complexity in organizations. And I think it's a really good angle and view on things. There was another article in the FT this week about the same sort of thing. I think it's on almost every podcast I listen to these days is, has AI or has Claude eaten SaaS as we know it? Like,
Yeah.
could your business as it stands today, maybe not a fair question, be done in a AI first world?
Yeah. No, and the answer is no, but it's not far off. And now we had just this afternoon. I was just literally back in the office, but this afternoon the first call I jumped on was a client sharing how they are doing a bunch of research on new trends, emerging companies, tech players, all the rest. They're doing that through an LLM. They're doing that through their own networks, and they are doing that through us. And then they are triangulating that information where the overlap lies. And you can see the sort of mental Venn diagram is where they are then paying attention and putting their focus. It's like, we are playing alongside these guys now, and of course we're using that within our own business. It's just they don't have access to the data that we do, and it's like, but when will they, right? And
Yeah.
that's the really,
But that's your secret sauce. That's the bit that's
sure.
unique to you guys that I think is allows you to be superhuman going forward, taking both the data side of it, the LLM to supercharge it, but then the humanity of hey, actually, this is what the data says, and here's what you actually have to go do with it going forward.
Yeah, and giving that confidence, right? That's the piece, which is still not there. We come back to the comparison, or the app within the chat GPTs. You get your quotes. Are you confident that they have checked everything? Are you confident that is the best that you're going to get? Are you confident in that purchase journey that you are going to be covered? All of that, right?
Maybe they should call it. This has got to be. We have to call this whole thing Dad's jokes. Maybe we should call it Old Spice. It's the best a man can get.
Just love your jokes. I think my favourite is you'll laugh thereafter. And I was going to ask you. Now we're off topic. What? When do you listen to your podcasts? You listen to so much. Is you like the monster commute or?
I walk loads of places. I'm always commuting. Like my commute's not long. It's like sub an hour, whatever else. But I genuinely, if I'm working, I've always got a podcast in. If I'm out walking somewhere, I've got a podcast in. Like I read a lot. I watch a lot. If I'm working where I work, like wonky hours sometimes.
Yeah.
I'll have a YouTube going on in the background of a show, whatever else. And I'm always consuming. But what I'm finding actually more recently is I'm listening to something in the background, piece of work at the same time, and I end up going, "Oh, what was that?" And going back and like zooming back 30 seconds or a minute or whatever else to go, that was an interesting topic. So
Interesting.
you and I have talked about this before about how you actually go build your newsletter each week, and I think I'm fascinated with people's workflows for getting stuff done, and then how you automate and accelerate some of those things. I've shared with you, and I'm happy to share with everyone. I write my stuff for me. I just happen to share it with everyone else because it's my way of thinking about what does that mean to me in my industry. Like this whole thing with insurance apps or money apps inside ChatGPT is fascinating to me, intriguing to me, and it's a huge part of my job. So I'm actually using it as a way of going, let me noodle that, let me think about it. And as I write the story around it or my short narrative around it, it's my way of developing the idea of what it means and what my strong opinion, loosely held, might be.
Yeah, I that's very similar for me. I get to understand it if I'm writing
Yeah,
about it because I have to go deep and beyond that superficial read, right? Yeah, I'm totally
yeah.
with you. Now
Otherwise, we just get stuck on headlines, right?
yeah, totally. Now we're 18 minutes in, and we promised ourselves that we were going to keep to a 25-minute pod, as opposed to I think our first attempt was at least I don't know maybe an hour and a bit.
But hang on, are we
Nigel,
counting the hour and a half beforehand that we spent laughing and joking,
no,
or does that
definitely
not
not.
count?
Definitely doesn't count. Nigel, right? Let's talk about what we're going to do on this pod, and who because we're going to get some guests on, right?
We definitely want people to come join the conversation and riff. Like I joke with people, we have a global community inside our business for bringing together hundreds of people around the world. I almost view it like Central Perk, like people come to locations to grab a coffee, chew the fat for a bit. It's the serendipity that we miss out on sometimes. So I love the fact we get to hang out and spend some time talking about industry issues, what's going on, conferences, what we're going to plan to do together, how we're exercising, all the things that make actually our job so enjoyable and
Yeah, yeah.
fun. about the humans that we meet along the way, right? So I'd love to get folks on this to come join us and share a topic they're passionate about. Again, it's always going to be technology related, AI related, insurance related, and probably the odd burpee or two from a fitness perspective, given that you and I are still, you're trying to get fitter and I'm trying not to get fatter. So between us, maybe we just call it fit mate, fat mate. It was probably absolutely the wrong thing to say, but there we are. So yes, guests, 100%. What do you
Yeah,
think?
nice. Yeah, I think the same. I think the one bit you missed is, and I don't think we have to double down on this, but I have a real interest in the human behind the human almost, right? And so we talked about him on the last pod, so let's not give him too much airtime, albeit that didn't actually get published. But someone like Rob Shimmick, right, from Baltec, like the guy's just done 7 marathons, 7 days, 7 continents. And like for me, I mean that's superhuman. He's also the CEO of one of the fastest growing, if not the fastest growing, insurtechs, if we can label it that. You know, they're Series C and above, I think now. But like a phenomenal business leader who has got experience from incumbent world to startup world to all the rest, but who also somehow finds time to, I don't know what my hand's doing here, but finds time to do all of this sport and commits himself. For me, it's like I'd love to understand how he trains. I mean, he must be on a tread taking meetings all day, and it must be really annoying for his team. But let's get him
Hey,
on. Let's
can we
ask him
meet?
these
Sure, let's go for a
questions.
30-mile run. No.
No, right. No, thanks. But like, you know, and then also how does one help the other, right? Because the resilience that you get through sport, and it doesn't need to be sport based, but I think everyone's got this kind of superhuman story within them, whether it's their child or whether it's their background or it's their previous job or it's what you know they're passionate about. And I just want to draw that out because I find that really interesting, right? I just
I had
I love getting it deep into people.
totally the same. I was with someone for lunch today. We both were sharing like routines because I'm a creature of structure. If I have structure, I can get things done and work on my way through it. And like one of my superpowers for me is I don't flap about stuff. Like it's just we'll figure it out. It's the way I've always been, and I really like that. In my personal life, I'm sure I flap, and my wife will tell you that God is a nightmare or whatever else. But actually, I love to your point about Rob, or you look at what Gabriel's doing over in Chubb in Asia. Like these are iron men and iron women that are running mega races. You can't just rock up and run something like that. David Kirk over at Aon, really good friend. Again, just phenomenal athletes that do a really, really good job. David's now in insurance world as well. And I love what the discipline of sport teaches you and what you can learn from that. That will then bring you into actually how can I be a better colleague, employee, partner, and so much more. So I would love to grab people's perspectives on that and then what that then teaches them about their day-to-day job.
Maybe we're finding something that we can
What does
focus
Matt,
in on.
Matt, what does running around with your shirt off in a high rocks teach you about sonar? And you're trying not to smile now.
You know what we're talking about? So as you know, we're going to. So I'm competing in the Worlds in June, right? Which is my claim to fame. It's finally
Flex.
age 48. Yeah, my flex. I'm finally getting there in this niche sport, running as a doubles within an age group. I mean, it's like proper thinning out of the wedge. We're talking about. So I obviously run my own company, and the guy I'm doing it with runs his own. We're talking about. I don't know if you see on Instagram all you get your kind of your logos tattooed. Brilliant, right? Not tattooed, but you know, whatever, the black penned. What? So I don't take my top off. You know that because we competed in the High Rocks together, fully clothed. Number one. But I think it's just the two things. I think the discipline. It's like what you're saying about structure in your day, right? The discipline of sometimes it's waking up at 5, doing it all before the rest of the house wakes up, so I can still be a present dad at breakfast and get my boy ready for school. If my wife was watching this, she would probably be doubting some of that. But it's the having the discipline and the commitment, but also just the kind of the resilience, right? It's like I'm watching my boy who's 7 years old go through sport, and they're not counting scores yet, but there will be winners and there'll be losers, and there's so much good that is taught from both of those to our kids, right? And then through sport in general and breeding resilience, and that I take to my job. I love it.
Honestly, and it's not just that; it's what they see. If they see you, if they see us on our
Sure.
phones all the time, which I am a nightmare at, I'm sure you're much better than me. But we're all exercising, we're all doing things, we're going for a walk. Like we've convinced our kids to do the Alzheimer's for United Against Dementia, IUAD, the Trek 26. So we're all going to go do a marathon, albeit a walking marathon, later this year. But I think it's a really good thing to get folks into the mindset of, hey, anything's possible. Like my little guy, I say little, he's taller than me and he's about tall as you, 6'2", has said to me, Dad, I want to go do a high rocks. I don't mind doing doubles, although he's got to lift my weights if he's doing it because I'm old. And he wants to run a marathon, as well as doing his A-levels. And I'm like, this is the right answer. This is absolutely the right answer. So
that is awesome.
I think it's really good to set those examples for the next generation as well, and what we can teach folks from doing those.
Right, good. Right, so we've got a riff. If anybody out there has suggestions of who we should be talking to, or wants to come on the pod, and you have a superhero part of your life that you'd like to share, and you're in the world of insurance and ideally innovation, let us know. I think that'd be great. Actually, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to call it a day. We are going to clip this to death. We are going to, this time next week, we're going to have thousands of followers, tens of thousands probably.
I want one person to listen to it and go, that was fun.
And that's a big sponsor. That's what we want.
I am going to share the picture of you and me laughing, because we were dying in laughter for about an hour before this, which was great. As always, buddy, good to see you. On to next week.
Mate. Take care. Speak soon.